Hi friends, welcome to Azure video tutorials. This session I am going to start with Azure Data Factory copy activity. So how to create a copy activity in Azure Data Factory version 2. I'm giving one small example, copying data from Blob to data lake store, or you can copy vice versa as well, like copying data from data lake to Azure Blob. So if you go to your data factory, here you can see there's options, a data factory, author and monitor. If you click on this data factory, there you can see what are the options you can get. Creating a pipeline from template. So if you have a predefined template, you can use the template. Then directly copying data using wizard based. Okay, so this copy activity will be created pipelines and data sets. This is a direct copy activity, we can use this wizard based. So other options like configuring IIS integration, set up code repository, that is Git integration. If you want to integrate Git integration, you can use this set up code repository. So let's start with the copy activity. So before that, if you go to author, there you can see all the pipelines and data sets whatever you have created. Monitor, where you can rerun the jobs or you can monitor the existing jobs, like whatever jobs are executed, you can see the logs, how much data is processed, what the jobs is executed, and all the status you can monitor in Monitor tab. So I'm starting with the copy activity. Before this, I'm giving an example. Here I have a data lake and a blob storage. In my data lake, I have two folders. One is a source. If I go to Data Explorer, here I can see I have a source. So in this source, I have a data file. So it's a CSV file which is having some data, header and details. You can see this is the header, this file header, and records also is there. Then I'm planning to copy data from my data lake store, this file from this data lake store to blob storage. So here I'm going to blob and I have a container name is target. So I'm going to copy from source data lake to this blob storage target container. So container means that folder I'm going to copy. So it's taking more time to get this. Yeah, so it's empty now. I don't have any files. Let's start with creating using copy activity. So here you can see this. When you go to copy activity, so you can use the name data lake to Azure Blob enough. So you can say interface. I'm giving a name. This is a task name, and here you can see there is a multiple options. If you want to run once or if you want to run regularly based on your schedule, run once means it will be executed only once, and daily if you want to run this, you can make it this schedule. Like here you can see tumbling window, or you can say schedule. There you can select the options. End date, if you want to select particular end date, like next 1 year, if you want to run this job, you can select the end date like this particular date. No end date. So like this, every 24 minutes or hours or like that, you can select here reoccurrences, and start date when you want to start this, and max concurrency. So that concurrency connections maximum, how much you want to use, you can use here 50, and the retry policy count. So if it is fails, if you want to retry, you can mention this. Intervals in seconds, retry policy interval 30 seconds, it will retry that. Then I'm going to run once. Click on next. Here it is asking my source details. After that it will go to destination, then complete deployment. So I'm going to select the data from my data lake store. Okay, this is my data lake. I have a connection here I've already created. if you want to create a new connection, here you can create a new connection. So I am selecting this my Azure Data Lake connection. I've already created earlier. So testing the connection, this linked services is testing. Select the file all folder. Okay, so I'm going to select the file which is available in my data lake source folder. This is a sales file. Then, so if you want to use a binary copy, you can use, and recursively. Okay, so this option, if you have a multiple folders like folders hierarchy, subfolders, if you want to copy all the folders, you can use recursively. Then filter by last modified. So if you want to filter particular data like last modified day, start time and end time, we can use this. Then click on next. So it's a default detecting the text file format. So it is a text file and comma separated. Here you can see that's a row delimiter, new line, and skip. If you want to skip any number of lines, you can use a skip lines. Columns name in the first row. So my first row is a columns. Then this is a data preview. Okay, this is a data preview. If I have any compression types, you can use a compression type. It's a normal text file. Then my destination, here you can see destination. So I'm going to store in my Azure Blob storage. So I have already linked service have already created. So I will show in another video how to create a linked services for particular source and target connections. Click on next. So here I'm going to select path in my Blob storage. I'm going to store in a target folder. That's a container, and saving the file name as sales target blob.csv. If you want to use, you can use .csv. Then maximum concurrent connections, if you want to use this file as for any other target, if you want to use this, here you can see this upper limit of concurrent connections count to access this data store. So if this data store, if you want to use the maximum connections, you can use this. And the copy behavior, there's other options available like flatten hierarchy, merge files, and preserve hierarchy. Like merging, like same file is if it is available, if you want to merge the file like that. Let's file format is a comma separator, and add header to the file. So I want to add the header to this file. Then compression type none, I'm selecting. Click on next. So there is another option here, you can see in settings, enable staging. So when you are copying from your data lake to Azure Blob, directly you want to copy from here to there, or if you want to copy in between that any staging layer. So if you enable this, it will be created in a separate staging layer. So you need to select that where you want to store, Blob storage itself or any other connection string, you can select this. Okay, so I don't want to store in another separate staging, so directly I want to copy from my data lake to Blob storage. Click on next. This is the complete summary diagram. It is loading data from your Azure data lake store to Blob storage. Here is the information, source details and the destination details, and copy settings. Here you can see. So timeout, if it is a server issue or something, so it will take 7 hours, and after that it will try, like it will time out. Then click on next. Now it is creating first data sets, then it is creating a pipelines, then running pipeline. So this copy activity will be created data sets and pipelines, and then will be executed. So if you want to create a normally data sets and pipelines, you have to create manually. So instead of that, if you use this copy activity, it will be created data sets as well as pipelines, then it will be executed. Here you can go to monitor. In monitor, here you can see this status showing as succeeded, you can see, and here there are two options, actions. Here you can see activity runs, you can view the log. Here you can see if you want to rerun, again, you can rerun that. So if you click on activity log, it will open the log. So if you click on this details symbol, here you can see total records, total rows, reading from your data lake is 227, and the total rows written in my blob is 227. This is through data written bytes and through output. And here you can see the timing from Azure data lakes to blob storage, and total is 4 seconds it has been taken. It's a start time. Okay, and use parallel copies, only one parallel copy it is used because with less data. Then if you go to your blob storage, this is target, right? If you refresh, the file will be available. Now you can see this is your file, sales target blob. I have created this file, and you can see the data as well. If we go to edit blob, yeah, this is the file which we copied from Azure data lakes to blob using Azure ADF version 2 copy activity. Azure ADF version 2 copy activity. So this copy activity directly, if you go to your data factory, you can use this copy activity. It's a wizard based. You can copy the data from your any source to target, and there you need to create all the connections. That's the linked services. If it is not created, if it is already created, you can use existing linked services. Then it will be created data sets and pipelines. So if you want to verify what the data sets and pipelines has been created in this copy activity, if you go to author, here you can see this is my recent one. Okay, this is the pipeline recent one, and for that data set. So data set default name it will take as, it will consider default names. There's a source and destination. Okay, then if you go to your, this is your pipeline which will be created through copy activity, and these are the activities, that's the transformations we can use in pipeline. And there are other options. Save this template, and the same template you can use for similar type of data loads. And validate, you can validate this entire pipeline, debugging a pipeline, and add a trigger. So trigger is a scheduling where we can schedule if you want to run daily this. That's the concept of trigger. And here there are other transformations available here. There's a move and copy activity. We are using this copying data from Azure data lake to Azure blob. Same thing, data flow, it is available for preview. If you want to use this, you can use this existing data flow. If you want to select, you can select, or you can create new data flow. So currently I will discuss this data flow in another session. So this is the way we can go for using copy activity, copy data from one source to another target. Okay, and there are other activities you can use, in your pipeline. These all are data explorer, Azure functions, machine learning, and iterations and controls. So these are the features is available in Azure ADF 2. It is not available in ADF 1. So those are features they added in Azure version 2. Here you can see general transformations like append variable, delete, execute pipeline, execute SSA package, get metadata, lookup, store procedure, set variable, validation. So this all the process of, if you have multiple requirement, multiple pipelines, if you want to call one pipeline within another pipeline, like this we can go for this using. Same thing for data like analytics, SQL, if you want to use Databricks as a notebook, Jar or Python, so you can use bash services like custom code you can use here using this. So this is all the activities they are providing in pipeline. So let's close this. So monitor, you can monitor whatever jobs has been executed here. Okay, and if you want to rerun, I'm rerunning again, click on OK. So it's rerunning this, and if you go to your blob storage, here you can refresh this. 1026 that's the last job which was executed. You can refresh again, you can see 10:32. okay, and this is the file. How many records it is there? 227. So with the header 228. So it is overriding the data actually. Okay, thus option we created in while creating this. This is your pipeline, and this is your copy activity, and the source, this is your source information. Here you can see your source data set, and the sink, this is your destination data set. And the copy behavior, if we use add a dynamic content flatten hierarchy, like this we can use copy behavior. And if you want to import any schemas, you can import here. And this is the complete settings for your copy activity. And degree of parallelism, if you want to enable like parallelism. So default auto, only one will be there. And user properties, if you have a own properties variables, you can add here. So this is the default source and target destination available here, you can see. And if you want to validate, you can validate. It will show if any errors are there in this program. If you want to debug, you can debug this. Here you can see deploying a pipeline. Here it is debugging this. You can refresh here. So debugging is succeeded. And here you can verify the actions. What are the target action? Here you can see rows read, rows copied, copy duration is seconds. This is all information. Here you can see complete information. This is in JSON format. Same thing for input. This is the data lake store we are taking from delimited text source from data lake store. And this is target sink, delimited text sink, Azure Blob storage, and a file extension text file. This is all JSON format, all the status you can see here. So this is the way we can go for creating pipelines and executing pipelines. And this we do have given overview on how to use a copy activity. And this copy activity will be created pipelines and data sets, and it will be executed once you done this copy activity. And you can copy the data from Blob to data lake or data lake to Blob storage, and you can select the connections. That's called linked services. If you have already created in your Azure Data Factory, those are linked services available, your source and targets you can use. Otherwise, while copying, you have to create a linked services manually using create new connections. So here all source and targets you can select here, like Azure database, files, generic protocol, NoSQL, like this. If you have a Blob storage, if you have a data lake store, like if you have a Cosmos DB, like this, source or target, all the connections you can create here. Okay. So thank you for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel to get more videos and updates on my channel. Thank you very much.